There we go. And there we go. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the main event. My name is Joe Tillman, and it is, Tuesday, April 25th, 2023. Got a little bit of a late start, 3:05 Pacific time right now. Appreciate everyone waiting for me. One of those busy days. It's crazy. You know, when you have roof damage or wall damage and you're trying to get it repaired while you're trying to live your life is actually on hold, because when contractors come in and you need to supervise them because it's your home, right? And so you don't want to leave your home while contractors are working in it. But the great thing is I do work from my home studio here, and but I'm stuck, and so I can't just venture out and do my errands I normally need to do. Today's different, because the contractor had to take the day off for some other work he had to do, but I was able to get some things done. I am feeling better. Thank you for the questions in DMs on Instagram about my health. I just caught a cold over the weekend. It was kind of surprising that it creeped up. Excuse me, and it hit me really hard. Like, I had a fever within 12 hours of feeling under the weather. And it just took me out yesterday. I was just kind of belligerent with cold medication to alleviate the symptoms. And I actually wound up becoming mentally challenged at one point. I just couldn't think straight. So it got over quickly, and I'm feeling much better. You can still hear a little bit in my voice. But hopefully, fingers crossed, I am on the mend. If you're new to the program, don't know who I am or what I'm doing here, rambling on about being sick, my name is Joe Tillman, and I am a 20-year veteran in the hair transplant industry. And it was 30 years ago that I had my first of two bad hair transplants. So I'm a veteran of the hair transplant industry. I'm a veteran of bad hair transplant surgery on my person, and I'm a veteran of being a successful repair case, having had 10 surgeries, not all for repair. The first two were the ones that really counted towards my repair, but because I worked in a world-class hair transplant clinic and my desk was 30 feet away from one of the ORs, I became a guinea pig. And so many of my surgeries weren't actually necessary. I wasn't even looking for them. They're just presented to me as being available since the staff was there and maybe a patient didn't show up. So that's the story with some of my surgeries. And some of my other surgeries were literally just guinea pig type of procedures. Like, I had a body hair transplant where some of my chest hair was taken and put into my crown. That was literally just an experiment where I'm trying to remember the numbers. I'm asked this all the time. And the numbers were about 120 some odd attempts to extract, and 87 looked viable enough to plant, and then 27 wound up growing. So it was about a 30% growth rate of all the grafts that were replaced. And it was an abysmal set of statistics, but it was the very first time that we had tried body hair, and I happened to be the guinea pig. They're still growing in my crown. They're in a 1 square centimeter area of my crown, and they're still growing fine. In fact, they have continued to grow long, just like the rest of my hair when it grows long, and they do resemble close enough to my scalp hair that you can't really tell them apart from the scalp hair. Now, to be fair, my chest hair is not very curly. It's kind of maybe wavy, but it's about the same texture as my hair anyway, my scalp hair. So it's a pretty easy blend. The only change, there's two changes with having my chest hair put into my crown, is that they grow longer than they did on my crown, and the characteristic of the hair is not so wavy, where it wasn't very wavy to begin with, but it certainly had a wave, but now it's more straight like the rest of the hair that's on my head. So two interesting developments out of that. But yeah, why was I talking about that? Oh yeah, just talking about my surgical history. But yeah, so 2015, I went independent and started seeking out clinics, or actually they sought me out, but I started working with clinics that I felt matched my standards for what I feel patients should look for the outcome and their patient care. And so that's what I do. I work with 15 different doctors worldwide and getting applications not on a daily basis, but fairly regularly. And I feel I got some pretty high standards. And one doctor told me that getting the information I need for him, putting it together, was like writing his medical thesis. So they're pretty high. Anyway, so today is this is a call-in show, and you can call me up at 1-833-563-4247. You can ask me any question you want about hair loss and hair restoration or what I'm doing in this industry. I'm happy to talk to any of you about that. I'm not going to be taking any questions from the chat room. This is a call-in show, so that is a toll-free number in North America. Again, it's 1-833-563-4247. You can use any calling app from anywhere in the world to also call, be it from Europe, be it from Australia, or anywhere on the planet. I'm here to answer your questions. I will read some comments. And here it says, it's always day one. That's his username. Hey, Joe, you're doing a great job. Thank you. Doing great work. 2 simple questions. You can call in to ask the questions. It's a call-in show, my friend. Tell us all about different places that you have hair. No, more details, please. No, I'm not going to get into details like that. Funny. Thank you. Viticola, love the daily show, even though I usually see the recording because of the time difference in East Europe. Yeah, well, you're up now. Give me a call. Let's talk. Ask me any questions you want. Toll free 833-563-4247. Again, toll free in North America, or use Skype or whatever you want to call me from anywhere you want. I got some. I do have another doctor coming up, and I will say I'm very thankful to Dr. Aaron Nussbaum being the first doctor I've had as a guest on the main event. That was a great broadcast. I am trying to fix the audio on that and the video I had with Dr. Jerry Cooley. I was having some echo issues, which have since been sorted out, but I'm going to get those fixed and then re-upload those so they're more palatable for your ears. And then we had Dr. John Cole. Fantastic interview with him and having him answer your questions. And then Dr. Ron Shapiro, that was on Friday's show, which is normally not on Friday since it's usually the placeholder for Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth with me, Joe Tillman. Spencer was out of town, so I took the opportunity for another broadcast. And then this coming Thursday, I have the first ever presentation of Dr. Joseph Yaker from Yaker Hair Restoration in Dallas, Texas. He is a Hair Transplant Mentor accepted member, IAHRS accepted member, and I'm looking forward to that because I think more people need to see Dr. Yaker. I think that he's, I'll just say I think there's a lot of potential for his growth and exposure as a doctor because he's very good at what he does. And not a lot of people have heard of him, or at least not a few years ago. His profile is rising, and excuse me, I'm happy to have him on. I got another doctor that might be coming on tomorrow. We'll see. So you won't know if that's actually happening until you either tune in on those specific days and times, or make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Hit the subscribe button, and then ring the bell for all notifications. You got 3 options there, and the one you want is all notifications so that you're notified when I upload the announcement for the next video, and you'll know who's going to be on. I'm also working on getting some non-surgical experts in the roster, in the schedule. I got a call, so I'll get back to that in just a second. Hold on just a second. Hey, you're on the main event. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Alex from Seattle.
Hey, Alex from Seattle. How are you?
Hi, Joe. I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Can't complain, man. We got some great weather. How about down there?
Oh, it's coming.
It's coming. It's coming.
Can you believe it's rainy? Have you ever heard that before?
Well, dude, I used to live in Seattle, and I'm just north of you by 3 hours in Vancouver. So yeah, I know.
That's right. You're up in Vancouver.
I know the whole spiel, and this week it's going to be like right now it's beautiful and getting warmer. So getting excited for the weekend. It's going to be very nice out.
It's good. It's going to happen. I can feel it.
Yeah. So what can I help you with?
Well, I had 2 questions kind of put together. I wanted to know, and I know you've spoken on everything at one point or another, but I'm wondering, topical minoxidil 5% foam is if you keep doing it, does it end up decreasing the health of your scalp? Is what I had read. So like you could still get hair growth, but then the scalp tissue becomes less healthy. And then the follow up to that is I read a study that said caffeine was on par with minoxidil as far as a stimulant to hair growth. And I didn't know if you could speak to both of those.
Sure. Great questions, especially the first one. Does minoxidil actually damage does it damage your scalp is what you're asking, correct?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
yeah, I actually talked to a hair transplant surgeon, and it seemed like their general vibe was that it just decreased your scalp to not keep doing it. So
well, I don't know if it damages it to the point where you have challenged hair growth. I don't think that's what happens, at least not in the experiences I've seen or I've been told about. But what I can tell you from a surgical perspective is it does change the physiology of the scalp, the topical formulation, and that might be because of the delivery mechanism. I can't tell you the difference between the foam and between the liquid droplets, but I do know that in general, it changes the physiology of the scalp to where when you're trying to perform surgery, making incisions, it makes the immediate underlying tissue feel like gristle on a cooked steak, which means that it's kind of brittle, and it's not very conducive for. Not to mention the increased vascularity means more bleeding during the surgery.
Right.
So there is definitely a physiological change over time. I believe it's compounded by the saturation of the topical formulation over time. If you've been taking it for 5 to 7 or more years, I believe it'll be significantly different than if you've been taking it 5 to 7 months. So that's the big difference there. But yeah, it definitely, a lot of clinics will tell patients to stop taking it 2 weeks before a surgery. But even the clinic I used to work for, Hassan Wong, there was discussion many times where we were considering telling patients not to be on it for 2 months at a minimum because of the residual effects on the physiology. And, one of the, sorry, 1 second, let me grab this, put this on hold. 1 second. There we go. There we go. You back? Okay, gotcha. So the residual effects are quite astounding in some cases, and the bleeding is difficult to control. So I don't know about damage on hair growth or... What the hell? Did he hang up? That was weird. Did you guys hear that music? That was odd. Okay. Well, I'll finish answering the question. It does cause problems. It does cause physiological changes, and some clinics do not have a challenge with the use of minoxidil, or they tell the patients they don't. And I know of at least one clinic that still might be encouraging its use immediately after through the procedure and immediately after. Never been crazy about that idea, but it is what it is. And then the second question, I believe he asked, I'm trying to remember, I forgot the second question. It was about minoxidil, and then, I can't remember the second question. I forgot it. Anyway, maybe we'll call back. But in the meantime, let's grab this other number here. Looks like it's from Europe. Hey, you're on the main event with Joe Tillman. What's your name and where are you calling from? Hello? Hello, you there?
Hello?
Yeah, there you are. Hey, you're on the main event. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Maurizio. I'm originally from Italy, but now I live in Slovakia.
Okay.
That is very close to the border with Ukraine. So
yeah.
in this moment. Hello, Joe. I just opened this live, and question and answer is open to any question or answer, or there is a team that we have to follow.
Well, hair loss and hair transplantation.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I mean, if we want to start talking politics, I got some opinions, but this isn't the show for that. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
What kind of questions you got?
So I am 53. I'm 53,
Mm-hmm.
and I started to lose my hair very, very slowly. I remember from my early 20s.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, my English is good enough to understand okay, it's quite rusty because
Molto
it's quite
bene.
some years that I...
Molto bene.
Molto bene.
Molto bene, sì.
Grazie.
Prego.
So, at the moment, I am between a Norton 2 to a Norton 3. On the crown, on the back, it's completely closed. I have no hair loss.
Mm-hmm.
My hair is Mediterranean, so big hair, black. So I have long hair at the moment. You know, I was thinking about hair transplant 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Probably you know the website Belli Capelli.
Sí.
That is an Italian website
Mm-hmm.
where there is a blog.
Yep,
blog.
I know them very well. Yeah.
But with finasteride or finasteride, I don't know how to spell it in English,
That's
and
right.
minoxidil, I took it under control. I did not make 10 years of cure, but you know we are lazy, so sometimes I live abroad, so sometimes it's not easy to get the medicals you need, because
Mm-hmm.
in some country where I live, you need a recipe, and in some country they don't give you finasteride for hair loss, but just for what's the name of that disease that you get to your prostate when you have prostate allergy?
Yeah, enlarged prostate. BPH, benign prostate hyperplasia. Yes.
Yes. So on and off, I saw strangely, because normally when you reach your 50s or late 40s, you stop the hair loss, no? Maybe the stress, maybe
not necessarily. No, I know a lot of people that start to lose their hair in the 50s and can progress quite aggressively over the next 10 to 20 years. So it's a what they say is an old wives' tale that you stop losing your hair loss, or you stop your hair loss in your 50s.
I understand.
Yeah.
So that I believe that everyone is a different case.
Yep.
It depends on stress, hormones, scalps, oily scalps, not oily scalps. Very, very, very personal approach to hair loss for everybody.
Very much so, yes.
So now I saw that in the last, let's say, I don't know if it was the COVID, but in the last 2-3 years, it started again. So I restarted to medicaments, so minoxidil and sometimes finasteride. Finasteride only 2 times a day, 5%. The lotion.
Mm-hmm.
I like the foam because it makes your hairs too much messy.
So let me ask you: Did you catch COVID? Have you been infected?
I catch twice.
Twice. Okay. And it was during the lockdown era, the past couple of years, that you started noticing your hair starting to progress again, your hair loss. Was this after you became infected?
Sorry, say it again because the connection was bad.
No worries. Was this after you became infected with COVID-19?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. After COVID, of course, I suffer from glaucoma.
Mm-hmm.
So it is not too aggressive, but I have to be careful with the medicament I take, because many medicaments don't work very well with glaucoma, because glaucoma is an increase of the pressure in the eye.
Yeah.
And so everything they shrink the vessels of the veins is not good. But I found that minoxidil is not bad because that is a vasodilatator. I don't know.
Yep.
So it opens. So it makes the blood flows better.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't make anything bad to the glaucoma. I asked too many doctors. I did some research because the site is more important than the hairs. So I didn't want to make. Anyway, now I'm 54, going to 53, going to 54. I said, if I want to make a transplant, now or never, because the transplant for many men, it's like buying a new car or make a trip. It's something that you want to enjoy.
Of course.
And I was lucky and blessed to not lose my hair in the young year. I was a little bit of how do you call that? Only on the front, on the corner. The corner
Mm-hmm.
went a little bit up.
Yeah.
But I still have all the middle. So, when you comb your hairs, but the hairs that you get in the middle start to become less and less and less and less. So I remember that when I did some research 10 years ago, it was when the FUE was in the beginning. And so before FUE, if you wanted to have a good transplant, it was FUT.
Mm-hmm.
The doctor from Canada, I don't know if I can say any name, but the two doctors from Canada.
Yeah, Dr. Wong, Dr. Hassan. There was also Dr. Rahal. He was also very popular with Italian patients.
I didn't mention them because I didn't know if in the live was possible to mention.
Of course it is. You can name any doctor you want.
Okay, sorry. Thank you. So in the beginning, I remember they did only FUT because they survive the number of follicles that survive to the FUE back then 10, 12 years ago were 20% less than FUT. And so back then I didn't do it. Here I am now. I opened the Italian blog, Belli Capelli. Mm-hmm. I found your very nice channel on internet. So I started again, but anything changed. So many doctors everywhere.
Yes.
Bulgaria, Turkey, this, that. People are only concerned about price. Sorry to say that again. But I wanted to share this. If I can share this feeling with the people, please, this is not a car. You have only one or two shots. So you can make sometimes only one or two transplants in your lifetime. Mm-hmm. So it's not like buying a car. You try a car, you buy a brand, you don't like it, you sell it, you lose some money, and you can buy another one.
So Maurizio, sorry, your name's Maurizio, yes?
Maurizio, yes.
Maurizio.
Yes.
Okay, so what you want to ask me is, at your age, 53, 54, and with your medical history using finasteride and minoxidil,
yes,
are you a candidate for hair transplant surgery? That's your first question, I'm guessing. And then the second question is, with all of the new doctors that you're seeing online, as you come back into doing your research, how do you figure out which is the best doctor for you? Is that your second question?
How do you read mind? Yes,
that's
that.
A lot of people want to know that very answer. Thank you. Look, it's
there is another question is that I never had the back of the hair short,
mm-hmm.
So I don't mind about the scar because for young people that maybe they shave the back of the hair 1 millimeter, 2 millimeter, maybe they are concerned about the scar of the FUT. So when you are not concerned about the scar, is still better to go for FUT in terms of quality, or the FUE evolved so well that now there is no difference between the two techniques.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hang on. Let me get to the first three questions, okay? Because they're pretty easy. All right.
We are chatting Italian. Oh, we like to chat. We like to chit chat, speak. It's very
I know. Hey, look, I love Italy. I love Italians. I've been there 12 times in the past 15 years. Roma, Milano, Reggio Emilia, Venezia.
Reggio Emilia, mamma mia, very good tagliatelle emiliana.
Grazie. I spend a week there, and I can speak full sentences and have conversations. It takes me a few days to get back into it, but I love Italy. Okay, so I love that you're calling. I love the accent. Love the food. Everything. So, the first question is: are you a candidate for the surgery? Based on what you're telling me, on your limited recession over a long period of time, you're 53 years old. You do have experience taking medication. You need to be more strict on yourself by taking it without forgetting. Like, you need to remember to take, especially your finasteride. In fact, I would say that your finasteride is probably the one thing that you can't forget. Keep taking your finasteride. The minoxidil, topical, I don't know. I mean, it's not my favorite, but it sounds like you are a candidate. Now, I'm saying that I have to throw these caveats out there. First, I'm not a doctor. Okay, I'm only I'm a non-doctor, but with over 20 years experience doing this. But I haven't seen your donor area, so that's assuming that your donor area has at least average density and average quality as far as the donor hair goes. Okay, so
maybe average or better than average,
right?
Because I have no problem at all in the donor area.
Right. Okay. Good. So it tells me that you're probably a pretty good candidate. Okay. So the second question is: how do you tell who's the doctor for you with so many new doctors, and some of them are pretty good, that are now in the industry advertising with their results on Belli Capelli, on International Hair Loss Forum, the French one, and all these forums and all these Instagram doctors, and everywhere you look on social media, you're finding doctors that are showing off their work. So if you were researching years ago when FUT was the dominant procedure, you probably started to understand what it means to look natural, what a natural hairline looks like, where you don't have the long sweeping curve of a temple that looks like the wings of a seagull in flight.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, you know what I'm talking about, because that's what you're seeing now with all these clinics that you've never heard of popping up out of nowhere, where they. And I'm not going to say Turkey, because it's not just Turkey, but all these clinics that are popping up that have these specials where it's 2,500 euros for maximum amount of grafts and all this BS.
Everybody looks the same, and you can tell immediately that they had a transplant because the design is the same for everybody. I saw that.
I like this call. Good job, Maurizio. That's a great observation. Okay. Thank you. So.
They look like
so the way that you choose your clinic is the same way that you always, and that's through looking at the results, finding, say, 10 clinics that meet your own personal standards for, number one, naturalness, and the design, and the placement of the hairs, where the hairline is full of mostly single hair grafts in the very front. And nothing about it looks like a hair transplant. That's the only thing that you or anyone should be looking at, and then everything else is secondary. So find 10 clinics that present that type of a result for you, where you're like, wow, that's okay. That looks good. This guy had the same amount of hair loss as me. If you can find them where they actually have the same kind of hair as you, where it's kind of coarse and and Mediterranean, as you said, then all that's great. You find 10 clinics that have results that you think look natural, to where you saw them on the street and you would not be able to say that's a hair transplant. Okay, so you find that, and then you start looking at the clinics qualifications. Who says that they're good clinics as far as their memberships. Some of them are relevant, some of them aren't so relevant. Look at the type of procedure that they're performing. Is it strip or is it FUE? Like which one do you want? And we'll get to that. That's your next question. So we'll cover that shortly. But the fundamentals have never changed. Find a clinic that does natural looking work consistently. 1 or 2 home run results do not qualify in my book as a clinic that's worth considering. All of their results, or most of the results, have to look really natural. I mean, there's always the odd case where it's like, maybe not so natural, but most people wouldn't notice it. Every great clinic has cases like that. I saw one just the other day, actually. But after you find those 10 clinics, then you start looking at the other things that matter to you, like the type of the procedure, the cost, the location. If you remember from the old days, you shouldn't let location dictate where you go for your hair transplant, but it is a consideration when you've already narrowed it down to 10 clinics. You want to start looking at things that make more sense to you, that are more convenient, or are more in line with what you're hoping to achieve. So if you want something that's closer, fine. There's nothing wrong with that, as long as they're in that group of 10 finalists that you've already chosen. Okay? And that's basically it. So it's no different.
So I was thinking about 3, but you suggest to start from 10 and then narrow the research.
Yeah. Narrow it down to 5, narrow it down to 3, narrow it down to 2, and then your winner. But another thing I want you to ignore, Maurizio, is not to be concerned about the technique. And what I mean is, don't be concerned, like if you want FUE, don't be concerned if it's ice FUE. Don't be concerned or interested if it's DHI technique or sapphire blade FUE, sapphire FUE. None of that matters.
Manual punch, motorized punch, it doesn't matter.
None of it matters. What matters is the results that they're getting. Okay?
Yes.
Like I know doctors that are using the robot, the ARTIS robot, and they're getting results that are far superior to some clinics using manual punches, which used to be considered the standard of what you want for FUE. That's not the case. That's not true. So the technique doesn't matter. It's the result that matters.
May I interrupt you?
Yeah.
For example, I was excited about a clinic I found in Spain. It was FUE expert, and they presented incredible cases on YouTube. But you try to call them, they are not open anymore, looks like. And for example, I tried to call one clinic in India, Eugenics. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, I do.
Eugenics or you. And now I'm waiting. They keep in touch because they are asking for pictures, detailed pictures of your scalp. So also in India, you may get a good result by your experience, or because I saw some picture you have been there. So the quality of the clinics, even in India, is a good quality result. Because it's very difficult to judge by the cases that they put on the website, because normally everybody put the best cases on the website. Of
course. Now here's one reason, or one way to understand that can be a good thing. If you find a clinic that has 10 before and after results that look really good, I mean just 10 before and after results, good for them. That's nice, but that's not enough. When you look at a clinic like Eugenics, they've got a lot of results on their website. They're always updating it constantly. You want to know why they're always updating their gallery constantly? because I told them to. I told them to do that because, just full disclosure, Eugenics is a paying member of my website. Like they passed my review. I think that they're a fantastic clinic when you're dealing with Dr. Pradeep and Dr. Erica Bonsall, his wife. They became Hair Transplant Mentor doctors about, I think 2 years ago, I think 3 years ago, and they do really good work, and they are pretty consistent. But I told them the exact thing I just told you, is that if you only have a few results on your website, then like a lot of people are fine with that. But if you want to set yourself apart from the competition, you need to actually update your gallery often, because that shows that it's not just a few cases that you can do that's really good. It shows that you got a lot of good cases that you can share. But
what adds value is also to have some case in some blog published by the patient and not only by the clinic.
Well, of course. That's the other thing. But I think it's also important. This is something that you don't see in a lot of places. It's important to actually try to contact patients as well. Now, the clinic should have patients. Actually, I know Eugenics will have a lot of patients that you can talk to, because they've built an atmosphere around their clinic and with their patients of camaraderie, of almost like family. Like it's really amazing how they've done this, where, Dr. Pradeep, it's mainly Dr. Pradeep. He's very engaging with his patients, and he keeps in contact with a lot of them actually after surgery. And so a lot of these patients are happy to talk to prospective patients. Now, the problem with that is, they're happy patients. That's why you can talk to them. So it's the same thing as looking at photos on their website, on a clinic website. It's the same difference where, the patients, the clinic supplied these patients for me to talk to, but they've got a lot of them, and they'll pretty much tell you the same thing, each and every one of them, about their experience. Now, it is important to find patients on your own. So, reach out on these different platforms, social media platforms, where you can engage with these patients independently of the clinic and find out, what they think. And, when you're dealing with a clinic like Eugenics, they do want all of their patients to share their experiences. And the good thing is, I know that they're not giving inducements for their patients to talk to other patients. They're not saying, if you talk to this patient, we'll give you a discount on your next surgery, or like, it's nothing like that. And some clinics do that. So I think that they are a good opportunity, or sorry, a good consideration for your research. They're not the only good consideration, but they are a good consideration. And then we're going to segue into your last question, which was FUE, F-U-E, I said that like the Italians do, or strip, F-U-T.
Yeah.
That, it's not a question I like to answer for people. I like for people to answer it on their own. But I will say this. In your situation, you can do either or, and it makes no difference, because you already said that you don't cut your hair short, and your hair loss is very slow and has been for the past 30 years. I'm jealous of you about that, by the way. Mine was very rapid, but yours, so good for you. I'm happy for you, but jealous at the same time. But you also have to understand that the only reason why FUE exists, the only reason why it exists on this planet, is because Dr. Ray Woods was seeing wide donor scars from his colleagues in Australia, and eventually from a lot of his colleagues worldwide back in the 90s and early 2000s. And that's the only reason why it exists, so that patients don't have a wide donor scar. Now, the problem with that is, a lot of clinics will say, well, no linear scar, but what they don't tell you is that if they take too many hairs from one spot, then it's not a wide linear scar. It's a patch that looks like someone got a little electric clipper and just popped you in the back of the head with it, and you can't feel it, like it's permanent. It's not growing back. It's not a scar. It can be scar tissue if it's a lot of FUE extractions that are close together. But the point is that it looks like you have a hole in the back of your head, in your hair. Or even worse, where clinics will just go through your entire donor area and they pluck it clean like a chicken on a Sunday dinner, where there's very little hair left, or they've taken so much hair, but they've also damaged a lot of the hair in that area, to where a bad FUE is by far worse than the worst FUT scar. By far. Like, there's no comparison. Like, if you deplete a donor area, there is no going back. There's no going back.
Get a bad FUE, it's way worse than if you get the worst FUT scar.
Absolutely. Absolutely, because an FUT scar can still be fixed by placing. Worst case scenario is placing hair into the scar. If you can't do a scar revision, then you can place hair into the scar.
Tattooing, making a tattoo. I saw they have.
Forget tattoo. Forget tattoo. I'm talking about real surgical repair, and that is possible with even the worst strip scars.
Had FUE extraction.
Mm-hmm.
You will look for a chicken.
It's all over the place. Many cases like this. But the good news is that you don't see this from good clinics, because what it requires is common sense donor management. There are cases, even with the best clinics, where they may have not through a surgical mistake, but because of the way that the body just didn't process the surgery properly, they can have shock loss because of such a disruption of the blood flow in the donor area, that a lot of the hair just shocks out and doesn't come back as strong as it should have or could have, or that we want it to. But
the follicle that you have transplanted, but also around.
I'm sorry?
I said you don't only lose the hair, not lose, but you have the whole of the follicle that has been transplanted, but you also risk to have a shock loss around the punch.
Yes. Yeah, you can cause damage. You can cause damage to neighboring hairs from the one that was extracted. Yes, that's what I was talking about. So, with your case, you have both options easily. You could get a strip surgery from any of the, well, I'll say any of the three good remaining FUT clinics, or I should say the three good clinics that are still offering FUT, because it's really not common to see an FUT result anymore.
There are so few now that they make FUT.
Yeah, few, very few. Look at Hast Wong, for instance. They still offer FUT, but they're doing more FUE now than they are FUT, which I laugh at that. I laugh at that because I won't say who I was talking to at the clinic, and I won't say the exact verbiage, but when I was trying to get the clinic to transition into FUE, I'll just say that words were used that made it sound like it would never, ever happen. Ever happen.
Yeah.
I remember that conversation very clearly. And but they're still doing FUT. Dr. Wong, I believe, is doing more FUT than Dr. Hassan. Don't quote me on that. I could be wrong. If anyone from the clinic is watching this, feel free to text me to clarify. Doug, you can send me a message, let me know. But you also have, closer to you in Switzerland, you have Hadding Hair, Dr. Sever and Dr. Laura Mercenou. They're members of my website, so I'm just full disclosure here. They do pay me to be a part of my website, but they earned that privilege because they are one of the best clinics on the planet. Not just because of the results they put out, but they've always been very, very good with their FUT surgery. In fact, in 2006 or 2005, when I first heard about them and I saw some of their results, It was the first time I was genuinely concerned about the competition in FUT when I saw Hannigan Hair and what they were able to do with big surgeries. Because if you remember back in 2006, when I was working at Haskell Wong, that's one of the things that we were known for, was doing bigger surgeries than everyone else. When FUT was the dominant surgery, Hannigan Hair was the only clinic that worried me as far as being able to take away business. That's how good they are.
In the beginning, it was almost FUT in the beginning.
Oh, it was always FUT. Yeah, always. But then you have my Thursday guest, if we can get it worked out, Dr. Yaker in Dallas, Texas. He does great FUT. You've got another hair transplant mentor, Dr. Nussbaum in Miami. He does good FUT. Alba Reyes in Dominican Republic does good FUT. I mean, there's still several good clinics out there, but not nearly as many as there used to be.
Years ago, so everybody moved to FUE like Shapiro, Armani, and those were
Shapiro still offers FUT, but you have to understand, Maurizio, it's what people want. People want FUE. They don't want FUT as much.
But normally, it should not be the patient that. It's not like a car that you tell me. Oh,
you are exactly right, Maurizio. It shouldn't. The patients shouldn't be able to dictate the way that a doctor performs surgery. You're 100% correct. But unfortunately, if good FUT doctors didn't start offering FUE, the way that FUE was being marketed, they'd have to close up shop. They were forced into offering FUE. They didn't want to offer FUE.
How would I approach a surgery? Will choose a doctor and say, "This is my face. You are the artist. Please design the hairline that it's more appropriate for my face," and not the patient that draw the hairline, because most of the time you don't design the ideal and natural hairline that your face need, but you draw something that is not natural.
Maurizio, I wish more patients were like you, because you understand very well the way that it should be, where the patient, your job as a patient, and this goes to everyone else watching this and everyone listening to this on the podcast uploads, when you take the time to research properly and you find, like I was telling Maurizio, you find 10 clinics that you want to put into a special category of consideration, and then you whittle that down to 5, and then 3, and then 2, and then the one that stands out as the winner. I think that you have no right to go to that clinic to tell them how to do the job that you chose them to do based on what they've already done for other people. Those other patients did not tell the clinic what to do. The clinic told the patient what they feel is best, and the patient agreed. And I say this, you can probably hear some frustration in my voice when I say this, because I've had a lot of patients when I was working in clinic come to me and say, "This is what I want," and then argue with me if I disagreed. What's that?
I say that maybe you can be involved in the process, so the doctor may ask you to want a little bit lower or a little bit higher hairline, but the design has to be done by the doctor and not by the patient.
Yes. Yes. The patient certainly has input. Like, they can say, "Well, I'd like to do this or like that," but they have to stay within the parameters and the guidelines that the doctor feels safe within. The doctor is your choice for a reason. It's because you should trust what the doctor says is best for your case. Now, there are obviously, some special circumstances where you should get up and walk out the door if the doctor does something that you don't agree with, such as, if they come in and they start talking about how the world is about to end, and so you can have whatever hairline you want, they'll do it because it won't matter in the end anyway. If they say that, then get up and leave. But in normal circumstances, of course, you do have some consideration, but you do need to leave it ultimately up to the doctor to do what's best, because you chose them to do that.
So I thank you for all the information you given. I hope that the information were also useful for some other patient listener.
Thank you.
Or anybody to make an hair transplant, because what I am concerned a little bit, not too much because I'm 50, and I believe that when you are in your 50s, different when you are in your 30s. So I'm not too much concerned about that, but I'm not concerned about the money because you have to choose the right doctor, the right clinic. It's important to do. I see people many times. They make a video in YouTube. They choose the clinic like the same way you choose a pair of shoes. They go online. They choose best clinic in Turkey. The first that goes out.
I love this guy.
Is a search. They go there and they fly there.
Yeah.
And most of the time they have no queue, so they operate. So I will never choose a clinic where they operate you the next week, because if there is no waiting line, it means that the clinic has no wait. That's my opinion.
No, that's a very solid approach to clinical consideration.
Contribution to all the people listening, and I say that as a patient. Plan your surgery the best as you can, and don't save money. So save on a car, save on a pair of shoes, but don't save money on a surgery because it's forever. And you have maybe 1 or 2 shots in the lifetime, or maybe more.
Very well said, Maurizio. Let me ask you a question, Maurizio. How did you find this channel? How did you find this broadcast, this show?
I was browsing the internet about hair transplant, and the mystery Google, YouTube algorithm popped out your videos in my when you open the homepage of YouTube.
Yeah.
Even if I did the research on Google, because Google and YouTube work together.
Yes. It carried over the algorithm, the search into YouTube. Yeah, I understand that. So that's interesting.
What video I saw, it was with Dr. Shapiro, maybe last week. Or
yeah, it was last Friday. Yeah.
I remember the name. I say, oh my God, is that Shapiro? I said, yes. I remember, 15 years ago, it was. And still is a name in the industry.
Oh, yeah.
Shapiro.
Yeah, of course he is. And I remember, and I got more to come as well. And so, final question to you, Maurizio: are you subscribed to my channel?
Not. Let me hit the button. No, subscribe. Yes.
Please subscribe. Yeah, and ring the bell for all notifications. And don't forget to like this video because the algorithm.
When I was listening, I opened your channel, and. So there is a possibility also in your website to register, to receive updates, to get information. There is any way to stay updated also through the website, or there is no possibility to receive an email, a weekly mail, a monthly mail.
I don't have that kind of time. So just subscribe here. You'll see the updates on the notifications for the YouTube. So make sure you ring the bell for all notifications on the subscription button. Okay?
Can I contact you? May I drop you an email?
Sure. It's on my website. Check it out. And you can also follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is @JoeTillmanOfficial. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you very, very much for your time.
Thank you, Maurizio.
Very, very rare to find somebody that speaks so, how can I say, independently? Because 90% of the videos on the internet are motivated by the sponsorship of somebody that pays you to tell this.
Yeah.
And to speak about that. But I from the videos I saw on your channel, it is not the case. So it's very, very... I also saw some of your journey, and you look great. You look natural.
Thank you.
I see you now, and for your age, it looks very, very, very good. Thank you for your time, Joe.
Grazie per tutti. Thank you very much.
Grazie. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Ciao, ciao. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, that was a good call. I love hearing from people like that get it. Thank you, Maurizio, for that call. You actually made my day on that one, because people like Maurizio get it. He obviously understood what was important, and it was just, I had to make those comments. It was very refreshing. So thank you so much. The phone number is toll free, 1-833-563-4247. It is toll free in North America. And of course, you can use Skype or any other calling app to call me worldwide. Let's go to the chat room real quick. There's a lot of activity going on. Please, people, don't forget to like this video. I don't have a lot of likes today. There's only 11 likes. I had that great conversation with a great caller, the Italian that lives in Slovakia right now, that understands what he needs. People, come on. You can't buy that information. that was a great call. Let's see. Judge Dredd 888. I like that name. Oh, Maurizio, that's you. Thank you. Okay, thank you for your time. You're welcome. Thank you for calling. See, under a bald guy missionary. I don't know what these. Well, there's some strange comments. Milk drinker. Apparently, Dr. Feller. Okay, we won't go there. Sergey says Dr. Beiser too, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think you posted that when I was talking about doctors that offer FUT. That would be Dr. Beiser. Absolutely. Oops. There we go. Hey, you're on the main event with Joe Tillman. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Alex from Seattle again.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what happened there, buddy. We lost you.
I didn't mean to leave, but the connection stopped working, so I hung up.
Right on. Okay, so I think I got your first question answered, and I forgot what the second one was.
Yeah, you nailed my first question. Just one response to that. It sounds like there's some degradation in the scalp. If I use it for 5 to 10 years, and I'm not going to do a hair transplant, does it matter as far as the hair growth, or is it just that's just a transplant specific situation?
I think it's. I've seen cases where patients have come in. They said that they feel like their hair has gotten more coarse over time because of it, and not in a good way. Where, for instance, say someone had hair like me, where it's kind of fine and straight, and they said that over time the hair got a bit more coarse and almost curly, but not in a good way. Like there's good curls and there's bad curls. Like bad curls, it looks like it's kind of sickly, you know. Yeah. So that's probably the only downside I've heard to using it for long term, and it was exceedingly rare that I heard that. So. Overall, aside from the traditional complaints of it makes your hair greasy and hard to style and all that stuff, but yeah, that's the only thing that really stands out in memory.
All right. And my second question is, I'm not a good candidate for oral minoxidil due to high blood pressure and some heart stuff, so that's not on the table for me.
Yeah.
I can look on the internet and look at people promoting caffeine as an alternative. To minoxidil, and they say it does the same thing, as far as the stimulant. And I was wondering if I could do like a caffeine-based conditioner, along with the laser cap, if those two stimulants.
Yeah. Do you have a cardiologist? Do you have a regular cardiologist?
I don't have a cardiologist. Just a GP that's managing blood pressure and et cetera.
I would talk to him about that because caffeine is a stimulant, and that's what you need to avoid in your situation. Depending on your particular characteristics and physiology, of course. But the general things that you share with me, that's not something I will even venture to answer. Specifically for you, because number one, I'm not a doctor, and number two, only your doctor knows your particular situation. I will say that it would not make sense to me to use it in the quantity necessary to get the same benefits as minoxidil because of stimulant, blah 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 blah, same thing. So there's that. But my question to you is,
I was talking about a topical application. Of
no, I understand, but it still goes systemic. So
correct. Yeah,
I mean that's the only way it works anyway. So My question to you is: Are you using any sort of DHT inhibitor? Are you using finasteride? And forgive me if you said so earlier. Yeah. You are, okay.
Yeah. I'm using finasteride. And using that as my DHT. I was just looking at a stimulant in addition, and I've started to shy away from minoxidil, due to the topical aspects. And I was trying to look at something that would, in addition to a laser cap, that would replace the stimulant.
And okay, so how long have you been using finasteride, and how do you think it's added to your hair?
Right. 3 years finasteride. No smoking gun side effect that I can point to. And then I feel like it's stopped hair loss and maybe a little bit thickened up.
Okay. How old are you?
If it kept going like that, I would just keep doing it.
How old are you?
50.
Okay. And are you hoping to have surgery at some point, or is this strictly a conversation about just the medical maintenance of your hair?
I did have a hair transplant a little over a year ago.
Okay. Where'd you go, and how's the result?
I went to ASMED with Dr. Koray. Largely based on research that, helping with your recommendation. I feel like they did a great job. I feel like the anterior hairline is way better. I feel like there's coverage issues on the top. I have kind of a wavy, curly hair.
Yeah.
And, so if it's perfectly styled, it looks great. If I go out for a run or there's higher humidity, I'll look on the top of my head and you can just see a lot of gaps.
That's the challenge. That's the challenge. That's the challenge with your kind of hair, especially when you're exercising. Yeah. Sorry, just a couple questions. How aggressive was your hair loss, and how many grafts did you get? What were you classified as on the Norwood scale?
Norwood. Yeah, they classified me as a Norwood 5.
Okay.
And I did
probably 5,000.
I did about 4. Yeah. Right. I mean, 4,000 and some change.
Okay.
Graphs.
Yeah, that's a lot of area.
And then, like I said, just if I just look dead on in the mirror, like the hairline and the thickness and all that's great. If I can style the hair and keep it looks fine. But it doesn't always end up that way. And I guess I'm going to in for a penny, in for a pound, right? I've done this. I want to maintain it. So I'll use DHT blocker and topical. And then I guess my other. I know you don't have photos or what have you, but I did talk to the clinic about an additional procedure to see if that would, if that would help, if that would help with this overall picture. And I'm at a crossroads on that. Because I don't know if I'd go do additional procedure and it looks a little better, but it's the same issue due to kind of the waviness.
Well, like you said, you're sight unseen. So just my opinion based on the math, if you're a Norwood 5 and you went in and got 4,000 and change, that's not enough to prevent the issues that you're talking about. And it's you're a reasonable guy. I can tell the way you're talking. It's simply a math problem. Where I look at aggressive cases of hair loss being Norwood 5 onward as needing 1,200 to 1,500 grafts per Norwood level to get what I feel is acceptable coverage. And so what I define acceptable coverage as acceptable coverage that doesn't look like you have a full head of hair, but at worst it looks like you might be moderately thinning in the best conditions, right? So. Yeah. Sorry, someone keeps trying to call here. Sorry. So in situations like you're talking about where you're route running or it's really strong sunlight, then it looks it looks less than, like in my own case, I've got a lot more than 4,000 grafts, and even in my situation, it looks weaker in some situations where I'm kind of like, ugh, yeah, I don't really care that much, but I care enough to notice, you know? So I get it. I get it. Right on. But yeah,
when they evaluate, go ahead.
No, I was going back to the minoxidil thing, but no, if you got some more comments, please offer them.
Okay. When I talked to the clinic, they said they could, with my donor capacity, I could do another 3,500 to 4. But then, obviously I'd totally blow out my donor capacity, and I just didn't know if that was smart to do it a year afterwards and have the benefit for the rest of my life, or just wait 5-10 years and not have it look good.
Well,
but maybe,
I can help you. I can
see where it goes.
Yeah,
right?
I can help you answer that question. I can help you answer the question.
Okay.
How do you feel about your hair now? Like, if you were told that you have no options for future surgery, would you be okay with your result now?
I would be. I'm a little nonplussed on it. I don't think. I think they did as good of a job with how many grafts they could take.
Yeah.
But I still feel like I need to. I'm pretty conscious of
okay, fair enough. I mean, you know where I was going with this. It's like if you can live with it now.
Yeah. If I was happy with it,
then live with it now. Right? You know,
you got it.
That's an easy one. But if it bothers you enough every day, like you get up and you're styling, you're like, I wish there's a bit more. You know, it's kind of noticing it through the day when you see yourself in the mirror and stuff, and especially those windy days downtown Seattle when it's sunny out. Yeah, I get it. So it makes sense if you want to go for another one. And, maybe don't blow out your donor with 4,000 more grafts. Maybe, talk to them about maybe adding 2,500, because that's actually, that's roughly half of what you had already. So increasing the density, generally speaking, if you went front to back by 50%, not such a bad deal. That could put you over the hump, because there is a threshold.
Okay.
There is a threshold on density to where it can make a huge difference in how you look at your hair, personally, like how you see it when you look at it in the mirror, to where you're like, okay, all right, this is good enough, or they almost got it. Just that threshold.
Right.
So, and then when you get that threshold, then you can experience the experimentation to find the sweet spot for length, which I've talked about multiple times.
You got it.
Because when you're bald like us and you get all this hair back, it doesn't look so good at some lengths. It looks too thin, and then you get to another length and it looks 100 times better. And you're like, wow, okay, I like this style. This is I'm holding steady right here. This is my style. This is the hair length I want. This is how I look the best. Because it's that sweet spot. So, you're a year out from your surgery. Is that right?
Yeah, just over a year.
Okay. You got more time to think about this. You got more time to experiment with what you've got to find that balance with hairstyles and stuff.
You got it.
Yeah, it sounds like you're in a good position emotionally and mentally on this. You don't sound distraught. You sound like you're pretty happy with the result overall. It's just you could use more. Yeah,
absolutely. I do want to comment. It's a vast improvement. There's a lot of things that are better. It's just that, if I could push a button and say I could be really happy with it, if that was possible, then I'm considering pushing that button. But
let me ask you this, and this is unscripted. Like, I've never talked to you before, but I'd like to get your opinion on how they how they treated you as a patient. And this is from my own morbid curiosity that I'm asking on a public format. But this is one of the things I look at with my members, because Asmed is a member of my website. So how do you feel about how they treated you?
I think you know the answer.
I know. I'm asking. That's why.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now, they come off very, very professional. They have the operation, a lot of communication, among the providers. They run it like like it's like it's a tight ship, and Dr. Koray is the captain, and I think he generates a lot of respect. I think he generates respect among his staff, and I think that shines. I mean, it's very customer service oriented. It's very good fall through on everything.
Okay.
I was I have been manager of different businesses. I was very impressed just as how they ran it as a business, customer service. They really shined. I don't have it 10 different hair clinics to compare it to, but I mean, just as far as like a business and experience, I have zero complaints on it.
Okay, that's what I like to hear. That was unscripted. I had to ask the question.
Oh yeah. No, I think they covered the bases all the way through. Good. And then, the thing that attracted me to it, you talked to the other person about, different, updated clients and stuff. I mean, I just thought that they have a lot of good results, and they're not shy to share it, and it's under good lighting. It's standardized. It's something you can actually see, and so I just I thought just results wise, they were like, man, they do, because with the Norwood 5, it's, I don't have a lot of great options. So,
exactly.
So, you're looking for somebody who could do a larger number of grafts and do a good job with it. And I really thought that they displayed that with their work, as far as the consumer.
Right on. All right. Well, Alex, I appreciate you calling, and thank you for your questions and for your sharing your experience. I'm going to let you go. Got another call coming in. Well, they just hung up. But anyway, I do appreciate you calling. Sorry?
Yeah, big thank you for your work. You're very helpful to the consumer. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and like this video. You're a caller on this one, so you should at least like it for me.
Already done.
Good man. All right.
Bye-bye.
Take care, Alex. Bye-bye. Toll free, 833-563-4247. Again, that is toll free North America, 1-833-563-4247. I was getting a call. Someone was very persistent in trying to call from Vancouver, just down the street from me somewhere. But then they hung up. So that's fine. You can try giving me a call back. Anyone else in North America, it is toll free. And of course, you can use Skype or any calling app that you want to call worldwide. We had Maurizio from Slovakia, the Italian living in Slovakia, call. That was a great call. And I appreciate everyone calling in. Right now it is 4:17 Pacific Standard Time, and lines are open. This is a call-in talk show, which I got to tell you guys, I'm enjoying the shit out of this. This is so much fun now that I'm not freaking out trying to make sure all my buttons are pressed and levers are thrown and the power's on. No, it wasn't Dr. Wong, DB. That's funny. He doesn't have the area code that was calling in, but I appreciate that. That's funny. But I'd like to thank everyone for your support so far. Like it's a very fledgling show. It just started a few weeks ago. This is episode 17, officially episode 17, and I think that was it like the first 5 episodes were impromptu and they were unscheduled, and they were. I think I had a couple of Instagram editions as well. So that's how we got to episode 17. That's counting everything. So just so you know. But it's been fun. I need to thank Spencer Kobren for his tutelage in this department, his help, and of course the opportunity to get experience in this format over the past several years on the Bald Truth, which is I love doing the show. But doing it like this, I've got a whole new respect for Spencer, because he was the one always taking care of this side of things. I wasn't. I just flip a switch and join his setup down in Beverly Hills. But now I've got my setup here, and so I finally got it worked out. But yeah, excuse me, still a little sick. The first couple of episodes where I did have Dr. Aaron Nussbaum and then Dr. Jerry Cooley. For those of you that have asked me about the sound issue on those, I am going to be re-uploading those once I can get the sound re-edited to get rid of that echo. It's a tough deal, but I will get those re-uploaded. And someone in the chat room said, well, just have them back on. Well, I'm going to be having them back on. In fact, there's another question about having some of my European members, specifically it was Dr. Ball. He will be joining us at some point. That's the problem with my European members is the time zone. So hold on. Hey, you're on the main event with Joe Tillman. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Joe. Got through. Good to talk to you. Charlie calling from, I'm actually riding my bike around False Creek Seawall right now.
Charlie, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. I'm half of the hairy, horny senior team that phoned the Bald Truth
I remember
a year
you.
or two ago.
I remember you.
So, hey, we've been calling ourselves the hairy, horny seniors ever since then. So
Well,
it's pretty cool.
What do you mean we?
me and my lady were both on finasteride and minoxidil. And
Yeah, that's right.
we're actually both on TRT as well. So
Oh, wow. No kidding.
sort of cool. Anyway, I just wanted to give you a quick call, say how much I'm enjoying your show. It's a keeper, man. You're doing a great job, and that interview with Dr. Cole was incredible. I've been listening to this hair stuff for, I don't know, maybe 8 years now, 9 years. And I learned more from that than I have in the last 5 years. That guy is just a fountain of knowledge.
Yeah, well,
And,
leave it to Dr. Cole. He's a walking encyclopedia about hair, but what's interesting about him is he's one of the few doctors out there that's pushing his knowledge as much as he can. And what I mean by that is, there's a surgical side of things where you got to give the man credit. Like, he's responsible for a lot of the I don't want to call them breakthroughs, but the developments on the FUE side of things with regards to hair transplant surgery. He's responsible for a lot of that. But beyond the surgical development, he's focused a lot on the regenerative medicine side of things. And I was talking to someone earlier today where they're asking about some things that they've seen him involved in, and what they're talking about is all these conferences that he goes to that are not hair surgery related. They're regenerative medicine conferences with some of the biggest names in the regen sciences, and he's contributing to these conferences. So he's unique in the fact that he knows a lot, but what's unique about him is he's pushing the industry into the hair transplant industry into the regenerative medicine side of things as well. So a lot of respect for him on that regard, and you seem to have picked that up from that interview, which I was very happy to have on board. He's a great guest, and the callers love him. So
yeah, well, he talked about a lot of things, like me and my wife. We were on she's taking oral finasteride as well, and oral minoxidil, and we switched over to a topical finasteride minoxidil mix, maybe 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of what he had to say about that was stuff that I haven't heard from it. There's a lot of things I'd like to talk to you about. We've learned a lot over the last couple of years, especially doing the TRT and stuff and wondering about hair loss. But there was one other thing I wanted to talk to you about. It's sort of off topic because I live across from Sunset Beach in a condo.
Mm-hmm.
And you talk about your car. You're working on some sort of car. You've got an engine for it and all that. And I'm wondering how you're doing that in a condo in Yaletown. Like, how do you manage?
Well, I'm not in Yaletown. I've not been in Yaletown in 10 years, at least.
Oh, for some reason I thought you were in Yaletown. Okay,
No.
Where are you now?
No, I'm by the airport. I'm in Richmond.
Oh, so you got yourself a garage and all that stuff. Okay, well that explains. Cause,
no,
I think last time.
No, I actually don't have a garage. I do have a large storage area, and I have access to a garage away from where I live.
Oh, sweet.
The apartment complex I'm living in, the concierge would kick me out. they would commandeer my car and they would send me into a room that's locked to punish me for working on my car in the parkade. So yeah, I'm in good with the guys that run the front desk of the development. So I don't want to piss them off. But yeah. So,
yeah. I got the same setup. So what kind of car are you working on?
Oh, I don't want to get too much into it, but it's an older. I'll say this: it's an older transaxle turbo. I'll say that much. So people can look that up.
I'm a car guy. I'm a car guy too, and so it just fascinated me when you're talking about when you're living downtown anyway. But I thought, wow, how's he doing all this? Because
downtown's impossible. It's barely you can barely work on a bicycle, much less a car downtown.
That's for sure. Anyway, I'll let you go. I got to call back in again. I'm loving the show, and I got a bunch of things to talk to you about and share. And so I just wanted to congratulate you on the show and the amazing interviews with the doctors. They're fabulous. So keep up the good work, man.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the support, and it's great hearing from you. It really is. I remember your last call quite well. So appreciate the support, appreciate the kind words, and say hi to your wife for us.
Yeah, well, we're still Harry, Horny, and Senior, so
yeah, I heard that when you first called. All right, take care, my friend. Bye.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
Toll free 833-563-4247. That is toll free in North America, and call me from anywhere in the world with Skype or whatever call app you want. Yeah, that was. I remember when he called in the bald truth, and he had some very unusual points of view. I won't even say that, but he was just a fun caller, so I immediately recognized who he was when he described himself. But anyway, I forgot what I was talking about before he called. I don't remember what it was, but yeah. So it's almost 4:30, 4:27 Pacific Standard Time. I am here as long as I'm getting the phone calls, people. It is toll free, 833-563-4247. Give me a call. I'm here to answer your questions. What's going on this week? Like I said, I've got Dr. Joseph Yaker coming up on Thursday. We're 99% confirmed on that, and hopefully I can trying to get someone for tomorrow. If not, it'll just be me here. And then I'm also trying to work out getting some non-surgical hair loss specialists on the show. And I won't drop any more hints, but fingers crossed it works out, because it'll be fun to have these people on to answer your questions, which is something that I don't think that anyone has ever provided as far as access to these kinds of these level of individuals go. So looking forward to that. What's going on in the chat room? Let's see. Joe, I have a 67 Camaro, and we put an LS3 in it. Okay. See, I know what that means. That's awesome. I love an LS3. I actually consider that for my own, but I'm not going there. It's too easy. Like everyone does the LS3 or some sort of LS. But I love a 67 Camaro. But are you doing a resto mod? Are you doing the rest of it, or is it just the engine? That's the key. Did Joe say he enjoys the show now by himself? I said I enjoy doing this, yes, by myself, running everything, but it doesn't mean that it's better than anything else, if that's what you're implying. I love doing the show. It's fun. I was actually comparing it to the first few episodes where I was losing my damn mind trying to keep myself together while things were melting down around me with the sound issues. It's quite stressful. Now I'm fine. See, Joe, I said it before. Okay, thank you, Dr. C. How about okay? How about a good doc in the USA? I don't know what that is referring to. Yeah. All right. So I don't see any other questions, people. I'm going to give this. Let's see. As of now, 2 minutes. It's 4:30 on the dot. There's 2 minutes left to the show unless I get another phone call. The number is toll free. 833-563-4247. We are toll-free in North America and accessible through Skype or other calling apps from anywhere in the world. Includes you, Adrian, in Australia, you're welcome to call. We haven't seen Morty in the chat room in New York. And Graham, I know that he's getting up, and I think he's in Melbourne, Australia. I haven't heard from Graham in a long time. He sends me some fantastic DMs. Oh, I think I know who this is. Good evening. You're on the main event. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Spencer. I'm calling from Los Angeles.
How did I know it was you? Probably because I know your phone number.
You know my number, yo.
How you doing, man?
I'm okay. Listen, just want to congratulate you on your incredible program. Video is and technical stuff is perfect. And now I think I can just leave. Call it a day.
So on next Friday's show, I'll have the split screen, and on your side, it'll have a sign with a pin through it saying "Gone fishing."
Gone fishing. That's it. Look, you finally got it, man. I was able to catch a couple of your other broadcasts with your interviews. They were fantastic. You know, these kids love to see these doctors. I don't want to do that stuff.
I know. I know you don't. No, look, all kidding aside, you're not going anywhere. You are going to be back this coming Friday, right? Are you back Friday?
I am.
Okay.
I am. I'll be back on Friday to do the bald truth
Awesome.
for all of your listeners.
Yes, and all of your listeners too, Mr. Spencer Kobren.
So but I just wanted to call and congratulate you. I know you wanted to go. I can tell. I could see it. I know Joe better than most of you folks.
You can see what? What is it?
You're just getting hangry. I could see it. So I just wanted to kind of keep you on the air for a couple of more minutes.
You just want to keep the flow going because we just broke the 2-minute barrier. It's 2 minutes and 19 seconds now. So you won. Congratulations. Absolutely. You kept me on.
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
I always do. I'm a winner.
You're a winner.
I'm a winner,
man.
Joe.
You're a winner.
Listen, Joseph, I just wanted to call, and I haven't had a chance to call in. I want to congratulate you. You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
And you're helping a lot of people. And you know what? When you see all the questions, like I'm looking through my Instagram, I was looking through it before, everyone wants a recommendation right there and then in the chat room.
I know.
Like you can possibly do that. Guys, if you're listening, it's impossible for us to do that. I've been trying to avoid that for the last 20 some odd years, and we still get the same questions.
And not just us, but people like my Reddit experience in the forums, of course. Who do you guys recommend for me?
Sure, but other people are willing to make those recommendations.
No,
people are going on the message forums, and they're just blindly recommending surgery and surgeons to people, and in most cases, without knowing what the F they're talking about. That's the problem.
But not just that, but the people asking the questions are getting recommendations from people they don't even know who the hell they are. They've
never seen these people.
X-Driver 25. Who the hell is that? What does that even mean?
I saw a comment in your chat from a guy that said there was a doctor that was allegedly kicked out of a message forum for creating a phony account. Well, guess what, people? That was the status quo for 15 years.
That's the way it worked.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, I'm sorry. You think that's unusual? That's cute.
If these guys ever saw the back end of these forums,
yeah,
and the moderators essentially talking to themselves,
yeah,
they would flip the F out. But that's the reality. Whether it's consultants, doctors, they all, not all of them, but many of them for years, so especially the most prolific posters and the people that are talking about, the same people talking about the same doctors all the time, almost all phony accounts.
Reputations have been built on fraudulent, fake accounts by one person.
Some of the best reputations. That's what really cracks me up. I tell people on the show to stay off the forums, but if they saw what I was able to see not too long ago when someone left the back end of their site open, I guess it was a long time ago,
yeah,
it would freak people out, man.
One person, the moderator, with the same IP on different posts, acting as different people.
acting as different people, asking questions, providing answers.
Slandering their own doctors. Remember that?
either slandering their own doctors, or I should say libeling.
Or libeling the doctors that were paying to be a part of the forum.
Right. Just to create controversy and to be able to extort more money from these guys and kind of like put the fear of God into these people.
Yeah.
It is an ugly space. If anyone is getting their information, listen, I'm on my soapbox now. I'm on your show. Anyone who's getting their information from message forums or from, I got to say, social media or these whatever the new type of message forums are, I mean, so much of it is nonsense.
House in the chat room says it's not libel if it's true. But that's the whole point.
It's not libel, slander, or defamation if it's true. Well, yeah, you can't be sued for libel if it's true. There could be some instances there could be some libelous accounts, but yeah, if every fact is absolutely true, it's not libel. But if someone is accepting dollars from people and telling the world publicly that they are the best thing since sliced bread, and then they make up stories about them in order to create controversy, that would be considered libel and defamation.
Yeah. Hardcore.
But it doesn't matter, dude. We have been doing this for 26 years. It doesn't matter what we say, how much we tell these kids, they're still going to get effed up somehow.
Yeah.
Most of them will not listen. And then they're going to go right to the forums and they're going to say, Kobren called the main event and said this.
and notice they'll be referencing the main event.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
Which will then be blocked.
All right. Well, look.
All right, brother.
I appreciate the call. I appreciate you dragging us out for me for another few minutes. We'll see if anyone else calls. See if that was a good motivation for other people. I appreciate it. And we'll talk later, buddy.
Okay. Have fun. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Spencer Kobren, everyone. Spencer Kobren from The Bald Truth. We are toll-free, 1-833-563-4247. Again, I'm going to do a countdown for 2 minutes starting now. If I don't get another call in 2 minutes, I will be ending the show because this is a call-in show, people, and I appreciate everyone calling in so far, including my friend and colleague, Mr. Spencer Kobren. Tom asked the question, have you heard of taking minoxidil sublingually? Placement under the tongue bypasses the first pass metabolism and should facilitate rapid absorption into systemic circulation. Appreciate your thoughts. Yes, of course I've heard of it. It's not really common. I think it's gaining some popularity, but I don't know if it'll supplant. I don't know. Like even oral minoxidil hasn't supplanted topical. It's topical still the most popular for ease of use and accessibility. Like a lot of places, especially in Europe, can't get oral minoxidil, much less for sublingual absorption. So, yeah, I don't know enough about it, but I mean, it's got potential. Obviously, what's been out there so far talking about it does seem to be effective, but it's new in the hair loss space on this from this this angle. So I don't know. It may work better for some people, but not much known about it right now. At least not by me. So yeah, we're almost there, buddy. Let's say buddy, I mean all of you. Let's give it another minute. So you're welcome to call in. It is toll-free, 833-563-4247. I will be ending the show in less than 1 minute if I don't get a phone call. But in the meantime, I appreciate everyone calling in. Appreciate all of you tuning in and listening and engaging with me and everyone else in the chat room. I see 29 likes. I'd like to see 40 likes before we end today's broadcast today, Tuesday, April 25th. I know we can get there. I know you guys can show your support for me sitting here behind this microphone, sharing the truth, people, about hair loss and hair restoration options that are, they're bombarding you with this information everywhere you go. You know, once you start searching for hair loss solutions and hair restoration options online, that search follows you everywhere you go, onto Instagram, onto Facebook, onto whatever social media platform, and you start getting the ads. Even in your Google searches, you'll start getting ads for hair restoration, hair loss products, that kind of thing. So, Milk Trigger, please answer my question. Which one? Does putting 1,000 grafts in the hairline and temple points use up less of the donor than putting 1,000 grafts further back, since they'll be fine singles mainly? It can, but see, it does use less donor, because if you're putting 1,000 grafts behind the hairline, then there'll be multi-hair grafts. So that's more hair being used graft for graft. Make sense? I hope it does. Okay. And thank you for liking the video. Everyone, it's been fun. It is 4:40 p.m. on Tuesday, April 25th. I am out of here. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.